So most of our stuff is actually like can be done in a week or 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Give it to some people and get feedback. So we've been doing this for like over 2 years. Give it to some people, get feedback every week, and then we see what's going on, and then keep improving over time. So we believe this is we find it as the most effective way for startup to actually like move fast. It's like you're not moving fast just because you want to move fast. You move fast because you want to create this kind of feedback loop as soon as possible, and you move fast because your customer give you a strong demand for some kind of features that they want to test as soon as possible.
For years, founders have been told the same thing. Build a defensible moat. Proprietary tech. Network effects. Lock in. But what happens when the ground is moving so fast, today's moat can disappear with the next platform update? That's the question at the center of this episode. My guest is Ong Lee, CEO and co-founder of Simular, a company building AI agents that work directly on your computer. Ong has spent years inside the AI research world, and he's unusually candid about the risks of building on top of rapidly evolving models and the limits of technical defensibility. This isn't a conversation about how agents will change the world. It's about building a company when the ground keeps moving. I'm Walter Thompson. This is Fund, Build, Scale. Fund, Build, Scale is for anyone who's interested in learning the basic skills required to launch a startup, secure initial funding, and transform their idea into a sustainable business. Get the newsletter on Beehive or LinkedIn, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, please leave a rating or review. Let's start with the basics. What is Simular? What does it do? How does it work?
So similar means something that imitates others. And this is the best word I found that can represent what, an AI system that imitates what human can do, right? So similar is actually like a broader term, but our company, the similar company, we call it the autonomous computer company. So the goal is to transform the computers that we're using today into the next level, meaning the computer that can be more autonomous. It can do what human can do in the digital world. This is the future we envision, like that can have like dramatic transformation to our society, to the way we live and the way we work. And but as a company, this is some kind of product we're thinking about, like how the system can help people. But in general, we're still pushing towards the AGI mission, it's artificial general intelligence, because we believe if we have the AGI system, autonomous computer is one way of demonstrating this kind of human level intelligence capability to the society.
There's a lot of agents out there these days. So I guess I would ask you, how is Simular different from other companies that are working in kind of a similar agentic space, I suppose?
Yeah, we started out in 2023 when agents is not even like a household words to everyone. I have a hard time explaining what it does back in 2 years ago, and now everyone is super familiar with these words. In my opinion, there are two type of agents. The first type is called API agents. So this means it's kind of like a MCP, or it's kind of like a large language model that deciding which API to use based on the user query.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of pre-existing API like Gmail API, Slack API that's already there, and the agent's goal is basically utilize these tools to accomplish the job. But then there's a problem here. Is some of the tasks they don't they just don't have APIs. That's why we have a second category, which we call GUI agents. So these agents, they're different. They don't have API. They don't have any pre-existing API. The way they work is they look at the screen, look at your screen, which is the GUI, graphical user interface, and deciding which location, which coordinate for the mouse to click on, and then perform the action on your screen. It transition to the next screen. So this is the process that this agent is doing, the GUI agents. Basically using your trackpad or mouse and keyboard as the tools, as
Okay.
the only tools, yeah,
Okay.
to do the job.
What would a use case be? Kind of like, I want to buy concert tickets, but I don't want to sit by my computer and wait for them to go on sale. Could I create an agent that could go basically buy the tickets for me and I could be doing something else? Or how would it work?
Yeah, so the GUI agents we believe is the most general form of agents because you don't fully rely on the existing of API, right? Any human digital actions you can just use GUI agents to perform on it. For example, in your case, by concert ticket, then basically the user can tell the agents, I want to buy a concert ticket, right? You can provide some details in there depending on your, it's still kind of like a chat interface. Like
Hmm.
you still need to put a lot of more details in there, like what time in there. But the agent will then you will see your mouse moving on the screen, opening the browser, like Chrome browser if you have it, and then type the URL of a certain like website that the agent believes to be related to a certain concert, right? And then go in there, fill out. Normally, you have a form on the website saying what time and what's the price. Like, it's a selection of price, what's the seat, location, and then the agent will click on these options for you to basically navigate the websites into a certain state
Hmm.
that they believe, okay, the agent believe, okay, now is the time for checkout. Yeah, in there.
Got it. You and your
Gotcha.
co-founder Chia Chen Yang.
Yeah.
How did the two of you connect, and how did you actually like divide roles and responsibilities?
Oh, we actually worked together in DeepMind, went back in DeepMind in 2019, and we collaborated on a work called multi-agent reinforcement learning. So the goal is to reinforcement learning to learn multiple agents collaborate with each other. That was one of the most exciting work I had when I was in DeepMind. And when I quit my job, I basically called him saying, okay, like I'm starting a company building agents. And I know like building agents is your life passion. And why not quit your job and join me together? Yeah. And then that's the beginning of the company. Basically, we started in August 2023, just two of us,
Hmm.
and growing the team. For now, we have 10 people right now. And both of us are very technical. When we started out, like people feel like you need some business background person, but we feel this problem, the agent problem, is still a very technical problem. Um, it's we're kind of okay with like purely technical background in there. But in terms of the division of work, I spend most of my past like research experience on machine learning, large scale machine learning infrastructure, deep learning, and continued learning. And he's the expert in reinforcement learning. So we actually have like complementary skills
Hmm.
in terms of like the technical areas. So that's why it becomes more natural for us to like actually uh, oversee the whole infrastructure because it's a very challenging like infrastructure problem for building agents. So we need all different kinds of expertise in there. So that's why he actually do a lot more like reinforcement learning stuff, like thinking even like the architecture design. But in the early days, we don't really like, it's a startup. We don't really like say, okay, you should do this and I do that. It's more like everyone try to fill the gap
Hmm.
the whole company. Like whenever we see a problem there, both of us can try to solve it, and then we discuss the problem and find the solutions. And then, sometimes there's some debate in there. I think that's a healthy way for the company to, move forward in a robust way. Because even you don't want someone come in and just say, okay, we just do this, and after a few months, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So
Right.
we have to do this kind of a quick sprint and quick iteration of ideas, try to test with the market quickly so we can validate on our own thing in there. Yeah.
How much time passed between, I guess, day zero and serving your first customer?
Uh, we actually have first customer pretty fast because initially mostly like when I'm just telling friends, right? So okay, I'm building this. Do you feel that's useful? And a- actually many of my friends will say, okay, I actually need it. I always want it. So that was the exciting time. Like everyone's saying, I get it. I always want this kind of assistant that can be on my computer, just do my job, right? And then we asked them this question like, okay, do you know how much time you spend on your computer? People feel like, okay, at least more than 8 hours.
Hmm.
Then we had to think about this question like, we are controlling your mouse and keyboard. Then how much time do people spend on moving the mouse? That's a harder question. No one knows in the beginning. And then we actually ship a small product on some friend's computer. So we say, okay, we're gonna record the time you move your mouse, and the results was surprising. And the average time is 2.5 hours per day, and someone even spent 5 hours per day just moving on the trackpad. That was surprising, and that actually gave us the belief. Okay, the current computer system is way outdated.
Hmm.
It's not efficient. Humans is not supposed to spend time on, you know, this kind of task, right? It's better for us to actually stay on top of the, computer system and be more strategic or creative and give the computer some instructions, then they can accomplish the detailed work in there. Yeah, so mostly like to answer your question, it's just like a week for us to get the first cut, but they are not paying customer, like they
Right.
are the initial beta
Right.
users. Yeah, I think it's because the problem we're working on is so close to everyone. Because everyone, when we started out, we have to think about, okay, suppose we have AGI, then what kind of product should we build? Then I look at everyone around me. We have eyeglasses, we have clothes. What else? Only phones and computers, right? Then it becomes so natural. Okay, can we put AGI style system or just AI systems into these devices
Hmm.
and make the device to the next level? And in the end, everyone will benefit from that. Yeah, it's just depending on the problem we're working on.
What was the moment when you realized that this wasn't just a cool tool, but this was actually going to be a great company?
Uh, there was so in the beginning when we started out, we are very technical and uh we start this company not based on our intuition, the insights from ourselves,
Hmm.
inside. And we've been working on this problem for a long time and we understand, okay, the trend of the technology evolving. We know this is something that's going to be achievable and we understand the huge impact by ourselves, like the potential impact. But when we started out in 2023, not many people get like uh this idea. Some people they have a vague feeling, okay, I want a system, but it's not really like okay, moving the mouse and typing keyboard on a computer. But there was a and then we started to build prototype, right? We built prototype which is buggy and most of the features doesn't work. It's not like fully polished product in there. We kind of feel in the beginning feel shameful to actually give it to other people. But there was a time I think last October or last summertime. Yeah, last summertime, there was a company reaching out to us and saying, okay, I saw you guys are doing like GUI agents, and we actually have a problem in there. So we need to navigate to a certain website every day. That's the website that we need to sign in, log in there. That's under our account. That's our information
Hmm.
on that website. We need to go there and extract data to our own database. But for now, we have to manually clicking on the website, go in there and extracting the data in there. Can you guys help? And then we tell them, okay, that's something exactly what we do. Like, so we give them the product, the prototype, which is buggy, extremely hard to use, extremely hard to use. And then there's no like clear UI in there. Everything is chaotic in there. We give the product to the customer. They spend 2 weeks. They made it work, and then that product become the core of that company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then they keep paying us non-stopping. That was like the one of the beginning of the moment. That was the moment I feel okay, like this crappy product and someone actually using that like as a company's like core backbone infrastructure. Wow, this is gonna be like something huge because we are pretty clear if we make the UI user experience much better,
Hmm.
you know, make the technology is gonna be way better than last year, right? And last year we actually there's a benchmark called OS Word, that's computer use agent benchmark. Last year in October we released our first open source agent. That's only 20% success rate on the benchmark. Human is 72. And 2 days ago we released the third generation of that agents. That's 69.9%. It's
That's, yeah,
only 2%. Yeah, it's only 2% away from human.
Hmm.
and we actually improved 40% over the past years,
That's really
more
rapid.
than 40%. Yeah, so you can see like the tech, it's actually very like I feel I'm kind of pessimistic because I'm a researcher. And a researcher is standing at the boundary of the, scientific possibility, right?
Right.
So we always seeing the problems. So so actually last year someone asked me, can you estimate what's the time that we can actually surpass human level in this benchmark? I told them 2020, end of 2026. Yeah, but even like now, 2025, we are only 2% away. So yeah, that was the also another moment I feel okay, actually the technology is advancing much faster than I expected. Even I've been working on this problem for so long.
Yeah.
I feel I'm actively being like pessimistic about like the trajectory in there. Uh yeah, so that's another thing is once you have a product that's like you're not satisfied with, uh this is a good example for people to think about like maybe next year it's gonna be 10x dramatically different than now. So so why not just give it to people and see actually can some people like actually use it? So that was the so after that we decided to actually like we actually tested with the user a little bit to confirm. So initially we're kind of skeptical because that's the first user, right? So
Hmm.
we're not sure. So we had to work with them and confirm, okay, this is actually something that works exactly for you. They actually run like 24/7. Every day they run it, run the agents, do the job for them. Like go to this website, extracting data, go to the database, and then they can serve for their own customers. And then we monitor for a couple of months and say, okay, like this is something gonna be the user gonna be sticky. Then they're not gonna like churn because yeah, this is like a very critical part of their system. They're happy to pay like around $500 per month for these
That's
agents.
cool. Approximately how many customers do you have in the platform at this point?
So for now we have different kinds of products in there. So we have over uh aggregate all of them. We have over 10,000 users in there.
You've got a 10-person team at this point. Do you have a permanent salesperson or an outbound go-to-market person, or are you still kind of founder-led at this point?
Yeah, still founder led right now. We don't, but we are actually looking for a GTM lead right now, and we feel it's a good time for us to actually doing more. We work on reinforcement learning. There's a concept called exploration and exploitation.
Hmm.
So I would say everything we do before is kind of like exploration. We just let things come naturally, right? We build stuff, give it out to people, and observe what's going on there. Then the exploitation part is basically based on our observation. We have customer from like auto dealership, right? We have customer from HOA, uh, like property management,
Yeah.
and we have success stories there. Then the question is, as next step, can we actually replicate these successful stories in the same verticals, right? Can we actually like actively reaching out to these people and share the news with them, and hopefully you can repeat the same workflow for other customers in the same sector. So this is the area called exploitation. So we are kind of in between right now. So we are thinking about doing more exploitation, kind of GTM, in the near future.
Do you have a sense in your mind of how technical this person needs to be?
Yeah, I would say we are agent company, right? We are a company building agent that I always tell people, meaning uh our company should be more agentic as well. Right? Yeah, meaning we are actually human is a kind of agent. For some, like it's not AI agent, it's a human agent.
Hmm.
So these two are kind of comparable, in terms of how the collaboration works. So we hope we won't hire like a big GTM team, right? We will have one important GTM person, like help the team, right? And then the question is, can how this person can be more scalable? Because we want to scale the agents, right? But can human be also scalable with the help of technology? So that's the question. It's not about whether this person has a certain level of technical skills. It's more about how this person can utilize existing tools to scale themselves. Yeah. And a natural solution is we have similar agent. as a tool, right? And this agent can basically clicking on a computer and type the keyboard. It can do almost anything that if you want the agent to do. Then the question is, can this person utilize this technology to make them more efficient? And the bar for using this similar agent is not that high compared to, cursor or like writing code in there. We found like high schoolers can already use similar agent to build some workflows.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say it's not super technical, but we hope the person to have, the technical mindset that they are happy to explore in, in the giant landscape of AI tools and utilize these tools to help them to be more efficient. And personally, as a founder, I feel I'm way more productive than 2 years ago.
Using your own
Yeah,
tools.
yeah, with all the tools, I'm way more productive in there. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of a average customer for you.
yeah.
I have a small business. I have a pet food store in San
Mhm.
Francisco. What are some tasks I could automate like really early with Simular?
Yeah, actually, the SMB, we see a lot of customer coming from SMB, and I actually feel the urgency for them to use AI agents to improve their productivities. And a very common patterns for SMB is normally you have a spreadsheet of customers. Normally you have spreadsheet customers and contact information and uh, for example, like the auto dealership, they
Hmm.
have a spreadsheet of cars coming in every month. It can be hundreds of cars. And then they need to put that spreadsheet information on a spreadsheet to their website so they can do advertisement, right? And if you don't have AI agents to move the mouse and copy pasting, then you ended up manually copy pasting the
Right.
information, the VIN number
Mm.
to DMV and right to check and then put into your website, putting some description in there. And the auto dealership we talk to, they are actually very like, uh, I'm actually also surprised they know all different kinds of AI tools. They use ChatGPT. They automate the ChatGPT to actually create, advertisement information, the listing in there. But their final piece of automation is missing, which is actually moving the information from the spreadsheets to their internal website and for hundreds of cars,
Hmm.
right? This requires you to move the mouse and select the content, copy paste in there. So this is one of the simplest workflow that everyone can benefit in the business setting. Starting with spreadsheets and copy pasting information to a certain website or database that can already like help them to scale the whole business because you can say I'm confident I can do thousands of cars in my dealership because
Hmm.
I don't have to worry about it. It's one button. I just everything is done. I don't have to be locked. My time is not locked in there. For the pet store, it's the same. I can get more customers with almost minimum time to manage all the customer information.
If I wanted, as an individual, not as a company, like I want an agent to kind of be a household manager and help out, like, help me keep track of things around the house and bills and repairs. Could I actually get a personal similar account and do that myself, or do I need to be a business?
A lot of people, actually 80% of people coming to us are individual users. So they can also get a personal account. And then we're actually working on usage-based billing system. So give people like much smaller entry point for using the app in there. And personally, I find it pretty useful to many of my daily life or work in there. Yeah. The first use case I do with Similar Agent is our office used to be in San Mateo downtown, and there's a parking system. So every day I go there, I need to pay parking ticket. Then what I do is I put a workflow in my Similar Agent, and after I go to the office, I just click on it, and then it goes to a parking system and pay for the ticket. So that actually saved me a lot of time. Also, booking our workspace used to have like a very old internal system for booking the rooms.
Hmm.
There's no API for that. It's not like Google Meet, Google Calendar. So we also have a workflow that okay, set up the time in there and do click on the button. It's gonna book the room in the workspace. And the third one I did is my payroll. Like I have to pay all of the team members every 2 weeks and go to the bank transfer money in there. And I actually have a workflow to, automatically go to the bank and read in the PDF and then put the values in there and transfer the money to the payroll system. Yeah.
Are there compliance issues if you're licensing this to someone who does medical services or controls like financial data, for example? Like, do you have to be compliant with how they handle data?
Right, right. We have to sign BAA, and we actually working on the SOC 2 and HIPAA is estimated to finish end of this year. And the reason I can do all this kind of thing is because our system can be fully local. So meaning even I go to my bank, the screenshot is not transmitted to outside to any cloud in there.
Hmm.
That's why I'm confident of doing that on my system. Otherwise, even my company's data transmitted to
Right. Yeah.
ChatGPT, LM is kind of be tricky. We actually signed a BA with Anthropic API, Google, so that's why these LM providers they don't save data as well. So privacy is actually pretty important to most of the business settings. Yeah, for personal, there are also people like they care about privacy, so that's important for them. So we have to handle these kind of privacy problems very carefully and security problems in there. But we have a solution that's run everything fully locally. So even if you understand the system very well, even you put the password in your agent, the password is not actually going through any LM system. The password is just typed in by the keyboard on your computer locally,
Hmm.
which will have no security problems at all.
Got it.
Yeah.
Let's pivot a bit. You have a 10-person team. Where are they all located? Is it a kind of a hybrid, or what's your workplace like?
Yeah, we have two people in Singapore, one engineer in Romania, and one of the employees in Santa Barbara, and a few interns, and most of the full times are in Palo Alto, our headquarters here.
There's some obvious challenges as far as like cohesion and time management. Um, how do you manage all that?
Yeah, so the first thing is um, it becomes the question of company culture, right? So what kind of company you want to build, and this is a problem I keep like actively thinking about, like what kind of company, what's the culture looks like. But in the end, there's one simple answer: we are agent company, so we value agency for everyone. So it means okay, we don't actually like we want people to be more self-motivated. So as a company, we don't like control people's time. You can whatever time you want to work on the problems. We are results driven, right? So we don't actually care too much about the time. Then this part is fine. The second part is communication because the team is distributed. Then there's a time zone issue, right? Uh, some people they are willing to like communicate with the other side of the world in their evening. That'll work, right? It's because they can compensate some time in the daytime. They can do some personal stuff in the daytime, but they can work spend more time work in the evening,
Hmm.
depending each person's adjustment. But it's still hard. The real problem is because real-time communication requires both sides to have overlap time. But there's another solution because I was in DeepMind before, and we used to work with London, which is the most challenging time zone with US, right? And the overlap is very, very small, only 2 hours overlap every day. What we found is the most effective is train ourselves to be more effective communicator with a decentralized or distributed communication, asynchronous communication tools. And this tool would be documents, Google Docs, right? If you have any sorts, write Google Docs and then send it to Slack channel. Everyone can see it.
Hmm.
When someone waking up, they looking at the Google Docs and put some comments on the document and then share it back, right? So this type of communication is very effective. We still find it very effective. Slack and Google Docs. These are two major tools for like distributed team to communicate with each other.
I personally prefer to work with small teams. I feel like
Oh.
things get done faster, and there's just more accountability when you have a smaller team. No one can kind of like slide past something. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure whose job that was. I don't know. It's everything always gets taken care of when there's like a few people in the kit. A few people taking care of things. But
Yeah, yeah. I feel it's so my opinion is not really the small team versus big team. It's more like the agency level of each individual. You see what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I keep thinking because I was in big company before, and I see different hierarchical structure in there, and now I feel because we work on the research on how to build agents, and I actually like give you an example in Agent S2, the second generation Agent S, we have a manager agent and like a second level manager agent, and then the worker agents. So that was the best agent framework back in April this year. So two levels of managers and workers. In Agent S3, we removed the managers.
I think I see where this is going.
Yeah, yeah, and it becomes better. It becomes 69, uh, you know, 20% better.
Yeah, yeah,
Meaning, if the reason is in April, the foundation model's capability is not as good as nowadays, right? Meaning each worker's capability is not actually like uh that good.
right,
But when the worker's capabilities become better and better, the importance of managers, the communicator layer is less important, right? So it actually mimic how the organization in the real human society looks like. Suppose every employee, every teammate, they work on a very tiny, small specific thing in a big company, meaning this person has to collaborate with a lot of people across different teams. Then that naturally create, the structure of the company. And the structure will create additional layer of communication gap between each of the person. And this communication gap will cause the problem that you just mentioned. Okay, I don't know who's working on this and who's on that. How the worst case, it ended up in the company. There's no one knows the big picture.
right.
Yeah, if the CEO is not hands-on, if the CEO doesn't actually go deeper into, the worker level, no one actually knows the big picture in the big company. And the company become, it's slow moving and hard to,
Yeah,
it becomes
yeah,
a problem for innovation, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you're working to keep it small. It's just kind of culturally and technologically, you don't really need a large team. So, what's your process for what's your process for deciding when to bring on someone new to expand the team? Like, what kind of framework do you have to decide that you need to actually bring in another person instead of building another agent?
Yeah, I've in the beginning, like in 2 years ago, actually, we still have some like framework to do that. But when we're working on a startup, we feel all of the framework are not super necessary because you just feel it. So whenever you have some need, you just feel it. Like for example, if I spend 60% of my time working on GTM, like working on like social media, images or videos, launch videos, then it naturally brings up the question, okay, what if I have a person who can take over this job, right? And then we can spend more time on, try to figure out what's the other problems. Because it's what very easy thing to do is if the CEO of the company is trying to fill the gap always. So if the CEO is always trying to fill the gap, then whatever the CEO do in the majority of the time, that's what the team need, right? So, so yeah, and I also tell my teammates saying, okay, like you can also do the same thing like me, like looking at identify the problems of the whole company, and then we can in the meeting we just propose, okay, we have this problem and this potential solution, we can do that. Either you do it or someone else do it. And when the whole team is trying to look look for all of the problems, that's the bottlenecks of the company, then during the meeting we immediately know what's needed. Like if we have all everyone saying, okay, this is the bottleneck, then either we solve it. If we found that we cannot solve it, well, I mean, I'm not a GTM expert, so I'm still working on GTM, but I clearly know I can do this thing right now. But as a company, I want someone to be better than me in GTM. Then it's a natural decision. Okay, when we search for candidates, we look for someone with specialty in this area better than anyone in the team. But they still have some level of agency willing to, look at other areas in the whole company and try to identify problems.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Are you the one on the team doing the talking AI videos?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good job. They're engaging. I watched them all the way through. So, good job there.
Already. Well, I only spent like 2 days because we move pretty fast, and most of the time we have a product ready, and we only have like a week, few days to prepare for GTM materials. Because everything was changing so fast. Even I prepare early on, it's hard for me to actually like get everything ready. Because once I get the material ready, the product may change in there. So that was the situation. Then we have a very exciting product we want to release sooner to the general public, and then I only have a few days. That was the weekend. I still remember. I tried to find a producer, video producer, because everyone in Silicon Valley they do this kind of founder talk. Like I just sit in front of the camera and just like talk about the product.
Hmm.
But I have a feeling it feel kind of boring in there because everyone is doing that, right? So I was trying to talk to video producer. They say we need a month at least to produce the video. I told them we don't have the time to do that, right? And then in one of the meeting, so in one of the meeting, I remember that was View 3 release or something. Like I showed the team, okay, there's a doctor who does ads with a gorilla. And then we had the idea. After that, everyone's so happy. And then we had the idea, like, why not let the gorilla to release the product as well? So we had this idea, and I become the executor. Like I spent 2 days.
Hmm.
I basically sign up all of the video AI generation tools, including OpenArt, Creative, VO3. I sign up everything and play around with them because in the early days, VO3 can only generate 3 videos every day. I actually generated like 6 videos for 2 days using Veo 3 for that gorilla video. And the good part is the gorilla video only has two, I think I remember it's only had two AI generated thing. And the other part is I taking the camera and shooting the real world. So I had a combination of the virtual and the real world in the one single video. So I actually don't need a lot of things in there. That ended up become like the final video, which we was super exciting because no one has done that for product launch before. It feels kind of we actually always wanted to do that, like do something more innovative, like try something new and see how it works. It ended up working pretty well. We have 2 million views for that gorilla video, and people find it like funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's more about the audience. They feel their time is kind of entertained. At the same time, they can see like some new product coming in there. We feel that's a good strategy. We probably will continue doing this kind of AI generated videos in the future because it also save us time and it only cost me like $300 for the subscription. It's not
Yeah.
just for one video. Yeah, in there.
Yeah. I mean, I from experience, I know it's hard to it buying that kind of engagement is super expensive. So yeah, just
Yeah,
better to
yeah,
earn it. Have there been times when all startups are supposed to, we're all encouraged to move quickly,
yeah.
but have there been times when moving too fast actually hurt you or was actually it backfired?
Yeah, moving too fast is always hurting. It's there's no free lunch. If you move fast, then there will be, of course, chaotic happening, right? So a simple example is because we check in the code, everyone check in the code, and then one person's code will break the whole production line, right? If we move fast, that will be the problem. Then we have to do come back and then check the bugs and fix it. But there's another side of the extreme, which is most of the big company, they looks like that. If you have to be very careful for everything you do, then it'll create some kind of problem. It's like everyone becomes too cautious in there because that actually prevents the innovation part. It make the product move slower. As a product, I would say, I mean, both approach are fine. Both approach are okay because there's no like clear winner either side, right? But we have to be more situational. It's depending on what you want as a company. For a big company, they want stable product release, right? So they have distribution. They don't care like too much about like distribution. But a startup is always, as a startup, we always try to um, win over the market. We're not competing with other companies. We're competing with the market. we're competing with humans existing behaviors in using computers, right? So that if we want to do that, then what's the best thing for us to do is whenever we have a new idea, quickly focus on that idea, quickly build a simple product or demonstration around that idea, nothing else, around that ideas, give it to the market and test whether that's going to be promising to change the market's behavior, right? So this is why. And if we are slow, then we ended up building a product for a long time and we give it to the market and we don't like market says like customer says this is not something I want, right? So the important for startup is actually create this kind of feedback loop as soon as possible. So most of our stuff is actually like can be done in a week or 2 weeks.
Hmm.
We give it to some people and get feedback. So we've been doing this for like over 2 years. Give it to some people, get feedback every week, and then we see what's going on, and then keep improving over time. So we believe this is the we find it as the most effective way for startup to actually like move fast. It's like you're not moving fast just because you want to move faster. You move fast because you want to create this kind of feedback loop as soon as possible. And you move fast because your customer give you a strong demand for some kind of features that they want to test as soon as possible. Actually, we found early users, they are very, one of the example I show you, like one of the customer using super crappy software and build a company and they
Hmm.
raised $5 million. They told us they raised $5 million. That was so exciting during that time, emotional, exciting. It's like honestly, everyone in the team believed the app was crap in there, in there. I give it to my wife. So that specific product, the company used the product to build a company with $5 million. I give it to my wife for 6 months. Every time I saw her using the app, she's like force quit the app and telling me I'm not gonna use it anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah, you know, it's we receive a lot of like negative feedback in the early days, but the same product, someone is willing to pay $500.
Right.
Yeah, so that's actually like an interesting observation. Like even many people don't like your product, it doesn't mean the product is bad. It doesn't mean the idea is bad. It just mean like you probably need to like keep going and look for the right people to validate idea. As long as a few people, they can they start to complement your product in a way that's okay. Like their feedback is actually okay. It's very hard to use, honestly speaking, but we are happy you have this product, so you can support our business. So this kind of feedback is something we're looking for. So we are not looking for someone saying, okay, your UI is so beautiful and I don't want to pay for that, but I don't want to pay for that. This is not the feedback we want. So as a company, we have to, it becomes the prioritization problem, right? If we want to look for that kind of signal, should we actually focus too much on making the UI beautiful in the beginning?
Hmm.
Or should we just build a prototype that demonstrates the core value of this product and test with few people? If one of them actually like find it to be super useful, that actually demonstrate, okay, this direction is right. When the direction is right, we can always put more efforts on, polishing the product into a better shape, right? So that becomes the second phase. The first phase is always fast and scrappy and like quickly doing this kind of testing with different customers in there.
Right. You got to iterate.
Yeah.
We've got some time left. I want to talk
Uh-huh.
about defensibility. AI first companies are always talking about building digging a defensible moat.
Yeah.
And there's something, I mean, I'm not a technical person, but in following the industry for a while, as an outsider, as a non-technical person, my concern is basically, well, why couldn't a really robust LLM update couldn't obviate the need for some agent companies? So they might just go away if like the LLM improves and becomes more robust, can do more. Then it could take the wind out of your sails. How do you think about that? And how do you make sure that Simular isn't a feature that could just disappear in the next update?
Yeah. So this has been a question people always ask me, like over the past, like, what if OpenAI do this, right?
Okay,
But
I'm on the
OpenAI
right
is
track.
actually doing that. Yeah, it's fair. It's a fair question. But we have to look at the technology of foundation models because the reason people ask this question is because they see the foundation models, and then they translate to the current scenarios, right? And the way foundation model is built is because you have internet over the past like I don't know 20 years or 30 years. Internet accumulate a lot of language data there. So if a company goes there and extract all of the language data on the internet, and they have some level of money to train a foundation model, they can actually replicate a foundation model. And then if we look at the agents, um, especially in the GUI agents, right? API agents might be a little bit risky, but on the GUI side, no one actually write down their step-by-step plan for buying concert ticket in the internet. So
Hmm.
this data is not existing in the internet right now. That's why for in the agent space, everyone, big company and small company, everyone is starting at the same position. There's no, advantage. Like so that's why small companies actually like I would say it's more beneficial because we can utilize all of the foundation models. OpenAI is not going to use Gemini. Gemini is not going to use like
Hmm.
GPT-5. But as a small company, we can actually that's the Agent 3 paper we just released for 69.9%. So we can actually use multiple models to do the reasoning at the same time. So only like a middle small company they have the chance to do this kind of a job in there. But the data is so the data is important, right? So for a small startup, that's why we need to move fast. So we have a product out for people can use, so we can learn from the people's interaction. So we can actually keep accumulating like step-by-step plans of how to do things. Right? These are the valuable data that is the knowledge. Think about it like the internet is kind of like the virtual highways, virtual Google Maps, right?
Hmm.
It's kind of this GUI agents looks like self-driving cars in the digital world, right? Every click is like one station from one location to another location. But in the real world, we can do self-driving car because we have DMV and all of the traffic rules. But in the digital world, we don't seem to have that. Then, in order for us to create an effective self-driving car in the digital world, we need to create the rules, the knowledge about the digital world. And this kind of information is not existing anymore at all in the current world, right? So as a company, one of the major area we should focusing on is actually accumulating these rules, how to do things. If you go to like concert ticket website, does the seats selection always show up after you pay or before, right? So we have to know that beforehand. So this kind of data accumulation is very important. And the second part is in terms of technical mode, the mode of the company. There are a lot of we had a debate on this question for 2 years. So the conclusion is that there's never a mode on anything because if we are comparing with big companies, all of the companies in the world, there's no mode on anything. Even we are the number one in OS world agent today, it doesn't mean we will be better next month, right?
Right.
So yeah, so in the end, if we have data, it doesn't mean like other people cannot have it, right? Other companies they can spend money also buy data. If we have even like social media, right? Even with social media, like you have users, it doesn't mean user will always stay. User may move to other platforms as well if the platform is compelling enough, right? So in terms of competition, like in a competition space, uh, when a company is 10x spend better than other companies, that company usually have most of the users in there. But if two companies are comparable to each other, then there's never like a difference between the two. So it's harder for a new company to be better, to get more users. Then we have to think about what's the real mode of the company, right? Suppose all of the external visible things are not mode, and then we end up believing the creativity and innovation, the minds in the company is the real mode, which is the hidden part. The hidden part is the real mode, meaning everyone in the company has a mindset to innovate, consistently and learn from the feedback consistently, continually learning, continually learn, and continually innovate. So this is more like a working behavior. If we can, so, right? Because last year in October we are 20% in the OS world, and we were the number one.
Hmm.
We were better than Anthropic. Anthropic was 15% on the benchmark. If we say, okay, we are already like the best tech in there, and we just like keep shipping, uh, building product around that technology, it's gonna be gone today, right? But instead, we keep improving. Even though we are number one, we need to keep improving. We need to better than ourselves. As basically, we need to better than the best technology in the world.
Hmm.
If that's us, we have to better than us, right? So we have to have always do this kind of have train ourselves with this kind of mindset, always be better than the past. So it's not really becoming like a competing with other company anymore. It's just like competing with the old technology and competing with the old behavior, uh, whatever that's existing in there. Yeah, we feel that's very important. That actually make us in a position that we can actually keep getting better results on the benchmark, keep shipping better products over time.
Nice.
So yeah, it's also like a company culture we really want to like build in the future.
My final question for you.
Mhm.
You've worked in very large companies and you're working in a very small company, 10 people right now, managing that.
Mhm.
If you were interviewing for a job with an early stage startup, what is one question the CEO would have to answer before you could take the offer?
You mean I'm the candidate?
Yeah, if you're,
I'm the
yeah.
candidate for the startup.
Mhm.
Um, I would try to ask the CEO their work style, because the first thing I'm pretty clear is CEO is the first co-founder and CEO is the first person in the company, and that person's style directly translate to the whole company's culture, right? Because that's the seed of the whole tree,
Mhm.
right? So that's very important. So the working style of the CEO matters a lot because if the CEO doesn't actually go deeper into the details, they're more hands off in there, meaning the company is more in a hierarchical structure as an early stage startup, and this structure will cause like transparency and communication gaps in the company. And I would prefer a person who's technical enough and then can understand all of the things happening in the company. They don't have to be experts, but they at least need to be like okay, we understand what's going on. They have to talk to the customers. They know what the customer talk about every day, and they know what the engineer think about. And at the same time, the CEO needs to be have the ability to you know extract themselves from the team and being sit on top. This has a problem. I struggle a lot because I'm more technical, so I can do more technical stuff. But I feel like for me to hands off,
Kind of
like
rise above.
delegate, yeah, let the team to run. That's also important. Um, I feel the founder is always like a paranoid existence. It's like you have to think about the future. You need to have vision, but at the same time, you need to be clear about the execution tomorrow, right? Define a clear short-term goal. At the same time, you have a clear vision. So the CEO needs to be more hands-on, understanding all the details. At the same time, being able to let the team run on yourself, be more autonomous in there. So yeah, I don't want to go to a startup and say, okay, the CEO just tell me, okay, you do this job and you don't have to worry about anything else. And I just become like, a small person in the company and working on a certain thing.
Hmm.
I feel from my experience empowering like people is way more because we have to think about the reason of company, right? The company's goal is not really just because we want to build a product. The company is a virtual thing. Company is actually a group of people. Then we have to think about every single person in the company, what they want. They want grow. They're not everyone just want money, right? Many people come to me and say, I don't care about money. I care about the mission. I care about building cool stuff, innovation. And that's the so basically every time I interview people, I ask them like, what do you want to do? Suppose you have $1 billion. That's for me to understand like the motivation. I guess I can ask the CEO the same question. Some people actually ask me like when I ask them, like suppose you don't have to worry about funding, worry about money. Are you gonna still do the same thing for your company? Right? Is the company still the same company? Is the company actually shaped because you want more money? Right? So that makes a lot of difference in there. That means if the CEO say like, okay, like I would still do the same thing, meaning the company is actually mission driven. They are actually shooting for the importance in that they have in their own belief in there. Yeah. So yeah, my final question is: suppose you have $1 billion, your company, what kind of thing would you do?
Awesome. We'll leave it there. Ong, thanks very much
Yeah.
for a great conversation. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very exciting.
The Fund Build Scale theme was written by Michael Tritter and performed by Michael and Carlos Chairez. Michael also composed Ocean, the track you heard at the top. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe and leave a rating. It helps more people find the show. You can get the Fund Build Scale newsletter on Beehive, follow along on Instagram, and if you have a guest suggestion or a question, reach me at fundbuildscale@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Fund Build Scale is a production of Truth and Soul Media, LLC.